Hello, thank you for visiting us today. This is the Pinnacle Life Design webinar series. This is episode number 23. Welcome and thank you for being here today. My name is Dr. Greg Green and I'm the founder of Pinnacle Life Design Group, a company dedicated to helping individuals intentionally design the next chapter of their lives. Today's episode is called Retirement Transformation Retreats: Why Immersive Experiences Change Lives. And over the next 15 minutes, I want to introduce you to something completely different and having a different way of thinking about retirement. Now, not retirement as an ending, but retirement as a reinvention. Not simply slowing down, but becoming more intentional about how you live, who you become, and what your next 15 to 20 years can truly look like. Because here's the reality. Many people spend decades preparing financially for retirement, but almost no one prepares emotionally, mentally, socially, or spiritually for what comes next. And that's why so many retirees quietly struggle, not because they failed financially, but because they've lost clarity, purpose, structure, identity, or connection after leaving the working world behind. Today, I want to explore why immersive retreat experiences are becoming one of the most powerful tools for life redesign and personal transformation in retirement. For decades, life follows a predictable rhythm. You wake up with responsibilities, you solve problems, you contribute, you build a career, you raise a family, you stay busy. And then one day, boom, it changes. The calendar opens up. The phone stops ringing as much. The structure disappears. And many people discover something surprising. Freedom without direction can feel empty. That's why so many retirees say things like, I thought retirement would feel different. I'm not unhappy, but I'm not fulfilled. I know I still have more life left in me. I just don't know what's next. And this is exactly why transformation begins. Because retirement today is no longer simply about stopping work. It's about designing a meaningful life after work. Now, most retirement advice focuses on money, like savings, investments, taxes, insurance. And while those things do matter, they're only one piece of the equation. Very few people are taught how to intentionally build a new sense of purpose, a meaningful daily structure, emotional fulfillment, strong relationships, personal growth, health and vitality, contribution and legacy, and a vision for the next chapter. In other words, people prepare for retirement financially, but not personally. And that's where immersive transformation retreats become so powerful. Here's something fascinating about human behavior. Real transformation rarely happens in the middle of everyday distractions. It happens when people intentionally step away from their normal environment, when they disconnect from routines, from stress, from noise, from obligations, and they finally have the space to think deeply again. That's why retreats are so powerful, because immersion creates clarity. When someone enters a focused environment surrounded by intentional conversation, guided reflection, meaningful exercises, coaching, and like minded people, something begins to shift. They stop reacting to life and start redesigning it. And that transformation can happen surprisingly fast when the environment is designed correctly. Now, when people hear the word retreat, they imagine a vacation. This is not a vacation, I can assure you that. This is something very different. A true transformation retreat is an intentional life redesign experience. It's a guided process that helps people evaluate where they are today and create a compelling vision for where they want to go next. Participants begin asking questions like, who am I becoming in this next season of life? What truly matters now? What kind of lifestyle do I want? How do I want my relationships to feel? What experiences still call to me? What contribution do I still want to make? What would the next 20 years meaningful? What would make the next 20 years meaningful? Most people have never slowed down long enough to answer these questions intentionally. And when they finally do, it changes everything. Another reason retreats are so effective is because transformation happens faster in community. One of the biggest silent challenges in retirement is isolation. Many people lose daily connection after leaving their careers. But when people gather with others who are also navigating reinvention, purpose, and the next chapter design, they realize, hey, I'm not alone. Conversations deepen, walls comes down, authenticity increases, and people often build meaningful relationships that continue long after the retreat ends because humans were never designed to reinvent themselves in isolation. I truly believe we are entering a new era. The old retirement model, you worked hard, now slow down, but the new model says you still have decades of life left. Now live intentionally. Today's retirees are healthier, more active, more capable, and more ambitious than previous generations. Many people retiring today, they may still have 20 or even 30 meaningful years ahead. That's not the end of life. That's an entirely new chapter. And the question becomes, will those years happen by default or by design? That's the difference. Intentional retirement means choosing your next chapter consciously instead of drifting into it accidentally. One important thing I want to mention is this: real transformation doesn't happen from inspiration alone. It requires support, structure, accountability, and follow through. That's why the most effective retreat experiences don't simply end when the participants go home. They include ongoing guidance and implementation support because clarity is very powerful, but consistent action creates lasting change. People need encouragement. People need momentum. People need community. People need accountability, especially while building new routines, goals, relationships, and habits. Transformation is not an event, it is a process. As I begin to wrap up tonight, I simply want to leave you with this thought. What if retirement could become the most intentional season of your life? What if instead of asking, what am I retiring from, you begin to ask, what am I being called towards? What if your next chapter include more clarity, more purpose, better health, stronger relationships, meaningful experiences, personal growth, contribution, adventure, fulfillment? Because reinvention is possible at any age. And sometimes all it takes is stepping into the right environment with the right guidance and the right people around you. That's the true power of immersive transformation experiences. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I hope this conversation encouraged you to think differently about retirement, reinvention, and what's possible in the next chapter of your life. If this message resonated with you, I encourage you to continue exploring what intentional retirement could look like for your future. Because your best years may not be behind you. They may be the years you designed on purpose. Thank you again. I look forward to connecting with you soon.